to continue with Adobe Illustrator. In my case, I decided to go back to Adobe Illustrator, you know, the original, not beta, because my computer is having some flaws while I'm using it, and I don't want you to get stressed. And remember, everything that you can do in Illustrator, you can do it in Illustrator Beta as well. Illustrator Beta as well has new tools, but the tools that I'm going to teach you right now on this video, you can find them in both, okay? So I'm going to create a new video, a new file, and a new video as well. This new file, the size is up to you. I'm going to select the first option that I have. I'm going to include 3 artboards, and I'm going to click Create. Now, I'm going to get closer to this one, Command 0. We have seen already these 4 tools. They are for selection. We have seen the pen tool and the curvature, the text and line. We have seen the shapes, right? But we haven't seen this, the paintbrush. How does it work? You're capable to do something like this. You can do something like this, okay? Now, the good thing about the brush is that you can define the size if you select it here where it says stroke, or you can change and select the structure. For example, you can do it with this texture, and I'm going to change it here. Every time you need to get, for example, a special effect in the brush, remember that you have this option. At the corner of the window, you can come here and select maybe whatever of the options we have right here. I'm going to select the scroll pen because I like this one very much. Let me click it, and here you have it. Now remember, the brush is a line, so you can edit it. In my case, remember that I had this trace. I'm going to adapt it. I'm going to delete it. You already know how to do this. Remember delete anchor point? I'm going to close it here, and this one too. So in case you want to edit, don't panic. Remember that you already know how to do this, okay? And here it goes. So if you click it and hold it, you're going to find out that you have the blob brush tool. How does this tool work? Well, it's simple. You believe that you are doing something that is like a line, but the reality is that you are not doing a line, you're doing a shape. And the good thing is that you can merge. Just like the video that you're watching that is coming up just at the side of the toolbar, this is going to become an illustration, not a line. It's going to become a shape, a figure. Let me show you how. I'm going to select it. Right now I have black color. In case you want to modify the size, you can double click the icon here on the toolbar, and then you can adapt, for example, the fidelity, the size, the angle, and the roundness that you want for it. Let's see. Every time you do something, I'm going to do these curves. You believe that it's a line, but when you select it, take a look. It becomes a shape, okay? And the good thing is that you can come and, for example, drag it here, and it's going to be added to the line or the shape in this case. So if you are really good in, you know, in freehand doing illustration, be my guest and use it. Remember that your teacher used to study in the 90s, so everything she knows, well, in the end, her base is from, you know, hand. I used to do everything by hand. I used to have airbrush, markers, Prismacolor, and ink. Now, we already have seen the eraser tool in a previous video, and we have this shaper tool. This is going to be really helpful. It was released like in 2021, 22, probably last year. I don't remember exactly, but it's a new tool. I mean, it doesn't exist 20 years ago or 10 years ago. This is going to be helpful because in case you're not good drawing, by artificial intelligence, they're going to say, ha, she's trying to do a circle. Ha, she's trying to do a rectangle. Okay? And well, in this case, they were like, we have no idea if that's hard. So automatically disappears. They recognize basic shapes. Okay? And the tools that are just below, this one is for rotation. I never created a video for you of that. Why? Because, you know, if you come and select the object, you can rotate it here. But if you want to do it in a specific number, you can double click it here and define the angle. Maybe you want to rotate it in 17. You press enter and here you have it. Remember that when you double click the toolbar, you're capable to see more tools or more definition and details about the use of the tool. If you click and hold, you have the reflect tool. That means that if you want to have like a reflection is usually in 90 degrees. Let me share with you an example of that. I'm going to place this one here. You can have this one and suddenly you want to have like the reflection. So you're going to select this, you're going to duplicate it. Remember, I'm pressing Alt. I'm going to select this, 90 degrees, and here you have the opposite, like a reflection. And of course you can rotate it as well. That's why I don't waste my time teaching this too. The ones that are the side, they are for scaling. You already know that by using the selection tool you can change it, but again, if you select scale tool, you're capable to transform it into a specific number, 200%, 300%, 50%, for example, 25%. Is going to be reduced in 25%, only if you have a specific number. That's why you are going to use all of them. And something that I wanted to share with you, let me see, this is the shear tool. Shear tool is going to help you to create like something with perspective or movement. For example, if I have this one and I apply the shear tool, I'm capable to move it. In case you like maybe industrial design and you like to do prototypes in packaging, maybe this one could be helpful, you know? You never know. The one that is at the bottom is for free transform. And the new thing that they have is the puppet warp tool. I didn't want to miss it and teach it to you, so let me help you and define how can we use it. Let's go to the web page. Remember that in the previous video I taught you about FreePick. Let's go to FreePick. I'm going to select a child because they are usually, you know, in movement. I'm going to use something that is related with vectors right here, not photos, because photos you have to use Photoshop. And we have this one. I'm going to use this one. So please select one of the options that you will have available on that web page. Remember to pause the video. I'm going to download it right now, and then I'm going to share with you how can you use the Puppet Warp. This is new. It was released in 2021 or 2020. I'm not so sure. And in my case, it was downloaded in download folder, and now I have it available here. I have it in JPG, EPS, and Adobe Illustrator. You can open EPS or you can open the one that is in IE. Okay, now you see why it's so important to create outlines with text? This is in pink because I don't have that font, but that's not what I'm going to look for it now. As you can see, this is an illustration. It was made and created like this, okay? It has a lot of trays. You can see how the legs were created, the arms, and so on. So I'm going to select this boy, and I'm going to ungroup it because, let me see if it's already ungrouped. Perfect. The bad thing is that the fingers of this girl, they are included, but it's okay. I'm going to use this arm. So how do we use the Puppet Warp? That tool is right here. Puppet is going to help you to create some movement. You have to define the points that you want, for example, to create movement. So when you move them with, let me again select this one. You see, you can change like the position of the arm and transform it. So this is how it's done. And you can select any area. I'm going to select this one. I'm going to place here the points and pins that I'm doing. They're going to be really helpful because they're going to define like the middle center where you're going to start moving it, okay? For example, if I want to move the knee, I'm going to come here. So you can transform an illustration. The idea to use this tool is that you already have an illustration that you want to give an extra movement and you want it to look like more real, okay? And well, this is how you can use the Puppet Warp. Let me see. In this case, you can see that the arm was a little bit curved. For example, in the case of this kid, I'm going to select it again and I'm going to place here. In case there's a point that you don't like, remember that you can click it and hold it and move it wherever you need it. Now, just be aware that if you move it in the opposite direction or not in the best direction, this is going to be distorted like this. So automatically the software gives you an idea like, okay, this could be the center point, you know, that shouldn't move, or in case you want to move, consider the fact that everything is going to be affected. Okay, so that's the puppet warp. And we have this one is for perspective grid. Usually architects use this tool if you want to do perspective. As this is not a class for illustration, I don't think that it's important for you to know about it. We have already seen mesh, gradient. You already know the eyedrop is to get the color, the reference, for example, of a color. This is blend. You have it here, but at the same time you have it object blend. Remember that we made it like at the beginning of the semester. And we have this one that is for simples. It's in case you want to continue using some texture, and they're already available for you. It's like using clip arts. That's why I don't teach it. And we can do some graphs, but the reality is that the best result you can get it in Excel always, and they're not so fancy and creative at all, right? This is already, you know, what is it? It's for changing the artboard. This one, as the video shows, if I'm not wrong, let me see if there's a video. This is for web design. Probably you're going to use it in case you are learning about web pages. The hand, remember that is going to help us to move along the document, and the zoom tool. Now the one that I'm missing is this one. I know, don't think that I'm not going to talk about it. So how does it work? Let me don't say this one. Remember that I added 3 pages, okay? So remember that we learned about the Pathfinder tool? Well, this one, the shape builder, is almost the same thing. When you select more than one object and then you click on this one, you're capable to unite the objects, like right here. Remember, it could be an intersection or a unite thing. And depending where do you do the trace, these are going to become one, as you have seen here. Okay, so the shape builder is going to help us to do the trace of a shape easier and faster. And again, if I want to continue doing it, you have to select it, select the tool, and then when you see it in this dark shade, it means that you are selecting that specific object. Now, in my case, I'm going to leave the middle so you can see what's going to happen. So every time that I want to move it, it's going to be cut. So the shape builder, how can you use it? Let me see if I have my portfolio. So you can see when I use shape builder, when I use Pathfinder. Serrano. And something is wrong here. See. Maybe you don't know this about me, but I used to do all the covers for many notebooks in Mexico, like Escribe, Urman, Paper & Co, Sudamericana de Productos Escolares, Mexibox, Southbox, that's from Brazil, Torre from Chile. Well, there's a lot of clients. And I used to do it in Illustrator because it's my thing, you know. I am an illustrator and I like to do drawings and illustrations. So here, for example, you can see how I managed to do the Pathfinder. Let me see another example. For example, in this case, I cut it with Pathfinder as well. Instead of, or maybe, for example, you can do a drawing, but I usually like to use angles, you know, with rectangles. For me, it's like a basic thing when I'm designing something. And maybe you have seen all of these products. You can buy them on Office Max, Office Depot, Palacio de Hierro, Walmart, and so on. These are some of my. This is some of my work. For example, was made with a shape builder, for example, and this is called Rochillo. I don't know if you had the opportunity to read my small presentation. My name is Brenda Rosillo, and in Guatemala people call me Rochi. Oh, okay. So you can see, for example, this is my style. So I am a little bit sweet, I may say. Now, for example, this flower, how can you do it? By just using the tools that we have seen. You can create, for example, an ellipse. I'm going to have this one. I'm going to rotate it. Let's see, just a sec. It depends on how do you want to do this, okay? I'm going to duplicate it, and in this case, remember that you can even transform the shape. I don't know if you were aware of this. This one is going to help you to cut and transform. It's a new thing that was added like six months ago. Sorry for not mentioning it before. So in this case, I'm just going to rotate it a little bit more, and in case I'm doing a flower, I will do this. I will use the shape builder, and I'm going to continue here. For me, it's not exactly like the fastest way, but it's up to you. Always keep in mind that this is going to happen, okay? So you need to get closer. I use the zoom tool, and as you can see, I am fixing it right now. Let me do it here. And in case you're not capable to fix it, like in my case, you can delete it. This is like just an object. Like it's a triangle if I'm not wrong. I'm trying to delete it, and here you have it. So it's up to you how you want to use and transform the tool. I can have this too, and I can use the Pathfinder as well. For example, here I have a Unite. So it's how you combine and how you use the tools. Many of them have the similar function, and it depends on the idea that you want to express. Okay? And last but not least, the new thing that is trend, in case you're looking or following some TikToks and Reels on Instagram, is about the volume. When you select a figure like this, automatically on the top you're going to have an option that says style. This is a style that is already there for you. I have that one that has a texture, and this one that has like, let me see, it's supposed to be, let me apply color to it, and yellow, and I'm going to apply this one and yellow. So I have like a shadow, correct? And it's like, only that? Well, no. As we have seen in the past, every time you click it to the corner, you're going to be capable to see different styles. So if you want to do 3D effects, click 3D effects, and depending on the shape that you have is the result that you're going to get. Okay, if you have a circle and you use this style, it's going to be applied to that circle, as you see right here. Maybe I'm going to select this one, and this is good in case you want to create buttons, for example. Now I'm going to do another shape so you can see the results of using this tool. I'm going to have it here. I selected the 3D effects, but in case you don't like that one, click again, open graphic style, and here you have blob, brush, additive, artistic effects. I'm going to select artistic, okay? Maybe you have to do this that is going to be related with pop art. Here you have an option. Or maybe you want to have like this texture, you know, like in dots, or like lights, like in glass. So you can have a lot of styles that are already available. You only need to have a stroke, and automatically the software is going to do it for you. Now, usually they tell you if there is a warning. In this case, in this one specifically, it's telling me that topmost fill stroke is not active. If I want to make it active, I just have to click it, and I'm capable to edit it again. Okay? So if you want to have these special effects, select the object, go to style. Now, how about letters? Remember that we saw about creating a retro text with a quick action? I'm going to type down just B. I'm going to select Helvetica. Remember, Helvetica is good. And for this one, if you want to apply any of these textures, feel free to do. Don't be afraid to mix up everything you have learned, okay? Here you have some options, and they're already available. It's just how they apply this style. And the last, but I believe that you're going to love it, I'm going to draw with the pen tool, with the brush. I'm going to do this, I'm going to, instead of selecting this one, I'm going to use this one. Let me just change it. I'm sorry. Here it is. Maybe I'm going to change the weight. And if you go to the top effect and then select 3D and materials, you're going to see all these options. And this is what I was talking about, the trends. Everyone is talking on how to do volume, you know. Take a look at how this was transformed. I'm going to get closer. Remember that it was just a line, correct? You can define the depth, the twist, how you're going to transform it, you know, by moving it, the tapper. You can even move it from here with the mouse. If you click it and hold it, you're going to see it like in 3D. You can select different materials. For example, you can select this one or even this one. Now, one suggestion that is really important, the size that you do at the beginning is the size that you're going to leave at the end. If you need a bigger file, do it big, because you're using effects, and every time you try to enlarge them, they're going to modify the quality and they're going to look blurred, and that's not good. And of course, we have the lighting. You can select where do you want the light to come from the left to the top, from the right, from the bottom, and so on. Okay, here you can see where the light is coming. It's helping me to define, for example, the shadows. And again, you can always continue moving this, okay? You see, I'm turning it around, like if it's a 3D. And it's not so complicated. It was just a line because of Serrano, okay? Now, if I select object, something that I forgot is that you have these 4 options. If you want to inflate it, like maybe create like a balloon, this is what you're going to select, okay? Let me just change how it looks now. Materials, base, object, not twist, and then we go to the top. You can transform it depending on how you move the mouse as well, okay? I'm going to change depth, inflate, and volume. How marked do you want to have the result? Okay, so here you can do really interesting stuff. For example, you can have an off-axis front. It's going to rotate it depending on how you define it in this area. Okay, and let's see. Depth and lightning. I'm going to put more light to it. I'm going to make it softer. And well, it seems like I am playing. I usually like to do this. Even my logo, I created with this volume. Let me see if I have it available in my computer so you can see what you can get. Just hold on. And let me see if it's this one. No, it's not this one. And let me go back. Luego contenidos, logos, Adobe. Ah, no. Contenidos, font. Well, for example, this, you already know how to do this. I created it with the gradient tool, and here you have my logo. I decided to have this like a volume, and I use it on my social media. Okay, so as you can see, you can apply this effect in 3D materials. In my case, I had the lightning from the right side. The material that I selected was default, and the object I created inflate because I want to have like this volume. Okay, so every time you try to do an illustration that has this volume, remember, you just go to the top, effect, 3D materials, and voila, there you have it. I hope these new tools help you to I don't know, maybe to imagine how you're going to create the following activity, because it has to be original and it has to be completely yours. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye!